One of the things that takes place when we are dealing with certain things in our lives is that there is a spirit of grief or sorrow. And sorrow has been something that many of us have been acquainted with over the last couple years because of all the deaths that's taken place in our houses. Like, how many of y'all have had somebody die within the last 3 years in your own house? Just your family or somebody in your family passed away. The death has just been a part of what we have had to become. It has became almost normal to some of us to see somebody pass that we loved. A lot of times when we are dealing with grief and sorrow, we don't always understand why God takes people when he takes them. And many times we say to ourselves, if you would have been here, if you would have just, God, if only you would have been here. So the Bible, let's go over to John 11 and 21. John 11 and 21. I'm going to show y'all something real quick. I got something for y'all, and I think it's going to be helpful. I had a lady in my life. I had a lady in my life that was very instrumental. Some of you may know that at one time I was married before Pastor D, and I had a mother-in-law who we didn't get along that good, y'all. We were not, the best of friends. We kind of had a relationship that was like a love-hate relationship. But when I really needed her, how many of y'all know that sometimes God will even make your enemies be at peace with you? And I heard that she was transitioning in her life. She was transitioning. And I wanted to go see her, and I wanted to go talk to her just to have a conversation with her, because you know how sometimes you can tell if a person, even if a person dislike you, y'all have a common thing that y'all believe in. Like, we believed in our family. She believed in family. She believed in us working together. And even if we disagreed about a topic, we came together when it came to dealing with the family. And sometimes what happens is when it comes to sorrow, a lot of times we try to tell people how to grieve people, how to grieve when somebody dies in our lives. It's funny because in the church, Pastor Hibbler, we see there's a lot of people who are grieving over dying to their old man. They're grieving over it because they literally want to continue to live like they used to, but God is calling them into something new. And they're grieving over the fact that I got to let go of my past so I can walk into my future. There is a grieving, there is a sorrow that comes over the people of God. And what's crazy is a lot of times we're saying to God, God, if you would have only been there. We don't even understand the fact that it is God, the one that is pushing us into. It's kind of like he's nudging you into moving into your purpose, moving into the thing that he's called you to do. Moving into it. I need you. I'm gonna let the stuff that happened in your life force you. It's almost like you your old man is saying, no, I don't want to go through that door. I'm not ready. But your spirit and God's spirit in your spirit is saying, that's some nonsense. Go. You ever have somebody just kind of push you into your. You didn't walk in the door. You was pushed through the door. Yes. I didn't really want to go. Listen. I really didn't want a pastor. really didn't want to minister to people. Turn to your neighbor and tell them, because I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to let go of my past. I wasn't ready to let go of my desires. I wasn't ready to let go of my past. I'm not ready. And when God begins to force you or push you, you can fall into a grief over it. I don't want to go. Because I don't know what's going to happen when I go. I know what I got to let go of. But I don't know if I'm ready to become what you're saying I'm going to be. And the church is travailing over. We are sorrowful. We're in grief over our past and letting go of my past so I can embrace my future. And many of us got to go through the stages. We going through these stages. We angry. I don't want to identify. I can't do this. And while you telling yourself you can't do it, God is saying, you built for this. I created you to do this. This was what you were originally created to do. And it's crazy because you can be in the middle of your foolishness in your life. And God starts pushing you. And many of us are mad at God because he's saying to you, come out from amongst them. Be you separate, says the Spirit of God. Oh my God. Stand up. Get up. Wake up. I'm calling you. I'm summoning you. And the proof that I'm calling you is the chaos around you. And I'm not going to let you be comfortable in I'm going to make you so uncomfortable that you're not going to be able to deny that it's me. You've been blaming the devil. You said, oh, that's the devil. It's the devil in people. That's why this stuff is falling apart. That's why this stuff ain't working. That's why this stuff is happening. And really, you're grieving. You're in sorrow. Because you got to let go of your past. You got to let go of all the people in your past that keep you incarcerated to those memories. So he separates you from the people to elevate you into his purpose. And we don't like it, Pastor Hibbler. We don't like when God starts making things in our life uncomfortable. We want to be comfortable. By all means, let me be comfortable. Don't mess with me. Don't mess with me. Don't mess with me. Don't mess with me, God. God, you know what? No, God. No. Check this out. John 11. Go to the 20th verse. Check this out. John 11, 20th verse. John 11 and 20. Then Martha, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went and met him. But Mary was sitting in the house. Check this out. Now Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. And it's crazy because this is prophetically what I'm hearing the people saying to themselves, God, if you had been here. But you didn't understand the fact that God was always there. The problem was you just caught up with God because you just came into the position where you wanted to now agree with God about what he had been saying to you. And you had been saying to God, God, if you would have been here when that happened to me when I was a child. He was there when that happened to you. He never left you. But what's crazy is that when we are in sorrow or when we are in grief, we always say to God, if you would have been here, this would have never happened to me. If you would have been here, I wouldn't be the way I am. If you would have stopped that, this would have never happened to me. Check this out. So Martha says to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give to you. It's crazy because a lot of times we don't understand. We be so engulfed in our situations that we don't understand that we have an audience with God. See, you're a daughter of the Most High God. And because you belong to him, then when you ask him for something, guess what? He hears you. And he is looking forward to answering your questions. But many of us think that God is intimidated by our questions. So we don't ask God questions. And really what it is it's not that God is intimidated. Most of the time, we don't want to hear the answer to the question that we have. That's right. That's right. So when I'm upset with God, because he ain't doing what I think he should do, then I don't want to ask God nothing because listen, he may be sovereign, but I don't want his sovereignty when it comes to my answer. Let me grieve and leave me alone. Let me go back to what I used to be because I'm comfortable with that. Let me go back. Let me revert back. And then let me ask questions that make me feel better about me not changing. I don't want to change. I know I need to, but I don't want to change. I know I need to stop, but I don't want to stop. I actually like it. Have y'all ever had something that you actually liked that God was telling you to let go of? It ain't a real sacrifice until you gotta let it go. Come on, you ain't, listen, yeah. How many of y'all ever had an idea in your head about something that God was telling you to let go and you was giving God every reason why you shouldn't let it go? Absolutely. And you didn't even understand the fact that God's purpose was connected to the request. I don't want to let it go. And God knew that if you didn't let it go, you couldn't go into the future. And then you grieve with God over letting go of something that he has already told you to let it go. You got to make that decision. But when you are grieving and when you are in sorrow, you ask God questions. Pastor Hibbler, you remember when you first heard God's voice about starting a church? Yeah. You remember when he gave you the layout of everything, told you what to do. He didn't tell you how you was going to do it. He just told you what he wanted you to do. And as you start walking out God's purpose, then he begins to reveal the how The how starts coming into manifestation as a result of you walking out what he said. I got to first do it. I got to step out, do it, even if everything around me looks crazy and it don't even make sense what he's telling me to do. He tells me the end of a thing at the beginning of it, but he don't tell me how I'm going to get there. I start making the steps, and as I start stepping into what it is that he told me to do, I start going through all kind of troubles. Stuff start falling apart. People start exiting my life. Folk that I thought was going to help didn't help. Folk that I thought was going to financially help me didn't financially help me. And I started being confused about, okay, God, did you really say? Was that really you telling me that? And then he turns around and he gives you provision for the vision that he gives you. But he doesn't tell you that everybody gonna leave. Wait a minute. Right. He don't tell you that when you do my purpose, that you're gonna have to do it with him and you alone. Starting out. And then he begins to tell you, I need you to separate so I can elevate. But he don't tell you he gonna elevate from the separate. He lets you make the choice to separate while he nudges you to do it. Then as you do it, they start falling off. People that you thought was gonna help. What happened to all them people that you started with? Where'd they go? I thought they believed in your vision. I thought they believed in the purpose. They told me too. What happened to all them people that said they was supporting me? And what's crazy, Pastor T, is that I'm not concentrating on who left. I'm focusing on the grief and the sorrow that comes. When I prayed for you and sat with you and bled with you and loved on you, and you left me. I'm talking about the sorrow that comes when you love on somebody and they leave you. I'm talking about the grief. Listen, because quiet as kept, most pastors don't tell you how they really feel about certain stuff. They cry in silence. They hurt in silence. People don't understand how it feels to be a pastor. Yeah. Because how many of y'all know that pastors experience church hurt too? It's not just folk getting hurt in church. Pastors get hurt in church. Hurt by the very people that they didn't help. And what happens when you are sorrowful, grieving over somebody God told you to help? And I hope y'all hear what I'm saying. When I tell them, I said this to myself, and listen, y'all, this is going to be a prophetic service. Pastor Givelify, listen, what happened had to happen. And he ain't done. And just when you thought it was over, you cross over. Just when you thought it was done, cross over. You switch. And not only do you switch, they switch. So what you thought was done was really put on hold to prepare you and the people that are going to help you. And not only is he shifting you, but he's shifting the people that's going to help you. And he's going to bring y'all together. Because what he got to do sometimes ain't just going to happen on your own. Sometimes you got to collaborate and come together. And when you come together, the shift happens. And you can no longer be crying over what happened in the past. What happened then is over. And the people that were supposed to help you during that season had come and gone. Now you're waiting on the next shift. And I hear this. I hear you saying this. God, when are we going? How do we do this next? What's next, God? I thought you said. I was going to do this ministry. Why didn't it not happen yet? Why has this day come full circle? Everything is falling apart. And we grieve over a vision that we have not seen fully. I don't know how this is going to work. You telling me to preach to these people, and the very people I'm preaching to seem to be rejecting me. They're not even responding to me. But I'm called to them. I'm grieving. I'm grieving over yesterday. I'm grieving so much over yesterday that I can't even see tomorrow. I'm grieving so much over what's in the rearview mirror that I don't see what's right in front of me. I'm grieving over the people that I lost, that I thought I needed them. And I couldn't see myself living without them. I can't see myself living out my grandma. I can't see myself living without my baby Ruth. Because every time I really needed something, I could go to baby Ruth and she would be like, baby, this is this and this is that, and you need to do this and you need to do that, and you need to stop this. And I'm saying to myself, okay, how do I live without their help? How would I live without their input? How would I live without them? He said, because what you used to rely on them to do, I'm going to do for you now. So my mother's mother dies. And at intricate moments in my life, she was always there for me. I used to hate going over her house because she used to always make me eat these hot dogs. I hated hot dogs. I promise you, God, I hated hot dogs. I hated them hot dogs. But my mother would leave us at her house for weeks, and we would eat hot dogs every day. We would eat cornflakes with no sugar, sometimes with water. And my grandmother would say, baby, I want you to sit down and eat this food. And she would make us hot dogs every day for lunch and dinner. And how many of y'all know I hated them hot dogs? To the point now, I don't even like eating hot dogs now. I'm done with hot dogs. And listen, listen, I'm so done with hot dogs, I ain't eating no more hot dogs, not even with beans. Because beans and hot dogs, I just, listen, I hate it. Pork and beans and hot dogs.
Come on, help yourself, Pastor.
Now, you ain't trying to hear what I'm saying. But when I didn't have nothing else to eat, I cherished those pork and beans and hot dogs. When I was really struggling, when I was really going through, I would go see my grandmother, my dad's mother. And when I was a young man, Hibbler, I messed up and got kicked out of my mother's house at 16. And the first person who opened their doors to me was my grandmother, Effie. She let me come in. And the first day I moved in with her, she told me this. She said, listen, when you turn 18, you got to get out of my house. Now, I thought that this was kind of harsh, y'all. I was like, I'm 16. She telling me when I turn 18, I got to leave. And she told me I got to start preparing you to leave. So she said, I want you to go find you a job. And I want you to go do certain things. And I did not value the time I was spending with her because she was preparing me. But I thought that preparation time was wasted time. So for 2 years, she told me every time when you work, and I want you to take your check and I want you to go buy some dishes. I want you to go get some glasses. Go get you a box of glasses. Go get you a box of your plates, your towels. I want you to go get all this stuff, and I want you to put it in your closet. By the end of those 2 years, I had everything I needed for my apartment. And I did not value the preparation time because I thought it was wasted time. And she began to teach me and show me. And on my 18th birthday, people don't even believe me when I'm telling y'all this, but this is exactly what happened. I woke up on my 18th birthday. She gave me $400 and said, I want you out of my house by the end of the day. Now, some of y'all think that's kind of harsh. That's kind of mean. But no, she had prepared me 2 years ago for it. She had made me get a full-time job so I would be working while I was in school. She prepared me for it. And her lessons that she taught me prepared me for life. And when she died, I didn't go to the funeral. Because I couldn't take the grief. I was in another city. And when she passed, I couldn't take it. When I think about her, I think about preparation time. I think about all the stuff that she prepared me for before I actually walked in it. And I became sorrowful and grieved over the time I missed out with her. I want you to know that preparation time is never wasted time with God. I want you to know that when you go through your trouble, God is right there with you. I want you to know that when you lose something, God's not trying to make you focus on what you lost, but he wants you to remember what you got left. That when you sorrow, when you grieve over something that you lost, or you perceive that something that you lost, it wasn't, you really didn't lose it. You gained it. Now, the problem that many of us have is we grieve over the people we feel we lost. When we don't understand that we didn't need those people to go into the purpose. You just got connected to the people because they were a part of the process. But you got to understand that when it's time for you to step into God's purpose for your life, that he's going to separate you from some stuff. And when he separates you, you're going to go through the natural process of grieving over it. But the only thing that helps you deal with grief is time. Just time. Do you make mistakes while you're grieving? Yeah. Do you make some decisions that you probably shouldn't have made because you were grieving? Yeah. But when you get done grieving and you look at back over the whole process, you realize that you thought you were walking through this thing, but God was carrying you through the thing. So what am I singing? Where them glasses go? I need to read this to you. Grief is a deep emotion of distress caused by great loss or difficulty. Sorrow is the sadness and regret that accompanies that loss. The words "if only" are only repeated by Martha and Mary. Both said these words to Jesus after Lazarus dies. If only you had been here. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you told God, if only you had been here? What are you sorry about? What are you grieving? What do you need God to fix for you? To just lay this thing to rest. I literally can't move. I can't go any further until I deal with the thing I'm sorry about. I'm grieving over. What is grief? It's a deep emotion of distress caused by great loss or difficulty. Sorrow is the sadness and regret that accompanies that loss. What are you grieving over? Is it your past? Is it the people that you got to let go of so that you can walk into your future? Is it the regret that you have over the fact that I've held on to somebody that I knew I was supposed to let go of a long time ago? But I couldn't really see myself living without them. But I realize now that I can live without them. There's a whole future waiting on me to just believe God and trust him. Pastor Hibb, I watched your broadcast on Facebook. I remember when you first came into our church years ago on Fond du Lac, and you were talking about the purpose that God had for you. That one day you were going to pastor a church. And you were so excited about it. Oh my, man, you were so excited. And I used to say to you, man, slow down. Yeah. I would tell you, man, it ain't all what you think it is. And years later, you stayed with me for 5 years, I believe, 5 years. And then when you were ready to move and go do your own church and transition into your own thing, you did your thing, and I tried to help you with it. And it was funny because it's like everything starts to come back into fruition. It comes into full circle. And I was just saying to myself, I have never met a young man with so much purpose in him that love God the way you love him. And somewhere along the way, Pastor Hibbler, we forget it. We get wounded in church and by church people. And we miss what God is saying. Because we get offended through the process. We don't, nobody told us to get, watch the process. Just watch what you go through. Because that stuff can it can hinder you. It can block you. It can stop you from walking fully. Listen to this, y'all. When God gives you a plan, he connects the purpose to the plan. And all the instructions that he gives you after that is connecting you to that purpose. All his instructions, everything he tells you, is all about you fulfilling the purpose. And when you get distracted with life and the people that come into your life, you can be distracted by these people. But God's purpose never changes. So even if 10 years go by, the purpose that he originally gave you was still supposed to be. But how you got to the purpose was up to your ability to listen to what he told you to do. And many of us don't understand that when he tells you to exit a relationship, the reason why he tells you to leave the relationship is because it's going to interfere with the purpose. And everybody is not meant to go into your purpose. They were just part of your process. And you're mad at the people that left when they could not go into the purpose. They were put in your life to help build you through the process. And when it's time for them to leave, you gotta let them go. Because it's all about the purpose. And as you mature in your life with God, you're going to learn that it's all about the purpose. And nothing else matters. Woman of God, nothing else matters but the purpose. Nothing else matters but the vision, what he showed you. That's why he keeps reminding you of the vision. That's why he keeps putting it before your face. That's why he dangles it in front of you. Even when you're not thinking about it, he puts it in front of you. The purpose. And we're hurting. We're also, some of us are grieving. Because we're saying to God, if you would have been there. And God is saying, I've always been there. I didn't leave you. You left me. Many of us are grieving. Many of us are walking in sorrow. We're upset about certain things that's happening in our lives. And we need to understand that God is always there. Pastor Hibbler, the half has not been told what God is about to do for you. And every promise that he has given you will come to pass. Don't let the process deter you from the purpose. Why do you teach the way you teach? Why do you preach the way you preach? Why do you prophesy the way you prophesy? Why do you have visions like you have? Why do you see like you see? It's all connected to your purpose. Let me ask you the question. Why do you feel the way you feel? Come on, my YouTube family, my TikTok family, my Facebook family. Why do you feel the way you feel? Hey, you know that stuff you see in them dreams, when you had them dreams, and the dreams seem to happen at the right time all the time? You know that? Yeah, I know. That's your purpose. And when you get distracted in your life and forget about the purpose, God reminds you through the dreams. He lets you know that, listen, even though you forgot, I never forgot. He reminds you through the dreams. And even when folk leave you, he brings up the dream. I had a dream last night that somebody that I'm really close to is going to pass. And I woke up and I cried over them. But they were not connected to the purpose. I cried over the relationship. I cried because I love them. And I cried because I was sorry that they couldn't see me fulfill the purpose that God has for me. God, if you only had been there. God said, I've always been there. And I love you. And I'm going to see you through your sorrow and your grief. All you need is a little time. You're going to start having these series of events and dreams that are going to take place in your life, Pastor Hibbler. And God's going to redefine some things for you. He gave you generally what he wanted you to do, but specifics, he's going to start giving you specifics on how to do it and who is connected to you doing it. You told me a couple months ago about your church and about the way you were going to do ministry. And I want you to let God revisit you with the way you're going to do ministry. That prophetic gift you have is strong. That teaching gift you got is really strong. And God's got a purpose for it. You don't just have a local voice. You have a national voice. And God's about to connect you to a people that's going to take you into that national picture. Because you need a support system around you to help you do the national. You got the local on lock, but the national is where God is trying to take you. And some people that's in your inner circle have to leave the inner circle so that he can put the right people in the inner circle to birth you nationally. And what I'm saying to you, to everybody that's listening to me today, many of us has asked God if you only would have been here. Martha asked Jesus that. He never left. He's always been there. I want to ask you a question. And I'm talking to my Facebook and my YouTube family. There are some of you who have been dealing with death. And you have been sorry and walking in grief as a result of a death. whether it's in your family, whether it's the death of your old life, whether it was you letting go of the past and so you could walk into your future. You've been sorrowful and grieving over what you know you have to do. Who is that in the house? Who is that? Who is that? Come on. I know.